There's no question we're heading into harder times, not hypothetically, not eventually, but in ways that are already starting to show up. And the problem isn't just one thing, it is multiple pressure points all hitting at the same time. And even in the best case scenario, if nothing else goes wrong, we're still looking at higher food prices, tighter supply, and less margin for error. What you do over the coming few months is going to determine a lot. Hey guys, it's Jared with Wicked Prepared. Right now, we are looking at two extremes. Some people are panicking, and others are just kind of looking around, seeing full shelves and thinking everything's fine. But what most people are missing is how many underlying factors are quietly stacking up all at once. We are talking about lower crop yields, unpredictable growing seasons and drastic weather swings, ongoing supply chain strain and higher transportation costs, global instability affecting fuel, fertilizer, and shipping routes, and bottlenecks that don't show up until it's already too late to react. This is not a worst case scenario. This is what we're already locked into. That's the baseline if nothing else escalates. So this isn't about panic. It's about getting ahead of what's already in motion while you still have options. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. I am sharing what we've added to our preps and our prepper pantry lately and why, in hopes of giving someone some inspiration, some motivation, maybe some ideas they haven't thought about before. In this prepper pantry haul, I have got some really cool things, some brand new items, and at the end, I will try, test, and taste some of these new items for you and tell you what I think of them. I've even got a heads up on something big that's coming up in the food storage industry. So let's get right into this. All right, I'm going to start right over here. I've got a few things. This is a little headlamp that I just found. Headlamps are honestly, I think, probably one of the best lights you can have because they allow you to have your hands free. You need lots of different lights for when the power's out. This allows you to have your hands free, any kind of a headlamp, and it allows you to keep the light directed exactly where you're looking without any kind of effort, without worrying about dropping your light. So this one caught my eye. I mean, we have headlamps. I have them hanging all over the house. I have them in my car. I have them all over. This one caught my eye because it was pretty inexpensive. It was less than $20. It is a headlamp, but it also can be a cap light, which means the little light part, which this little light part is pretty small and futuristic looking. And so this will clip off of the headband and you could clip it onto a cap if you wear a ball cap. And then my thought is it could probably clip onto lots of other things as well. I love things that are versatile. So I had to pick this up. It says 400 lumens, rechargeable. Super excited to try this. And next I've got this butter. It says butter crock, but I call these a butter bell. So basically what these are is it is just a ceramic crock and it's two pieces. You open up, pull out the top piece and it's got a little bell-shaped spot where you pack the butter in there and then you put a little bit of water in the base. It's got a line to show you and then that forms an airlock when you put the butter back down. So this is meant for keeping butter a lot fresher, a lot longer at room temperature than having it exposed to the air. And so this is kind of an old-fashioned sort of kitchen tool, I guess, that they used a long time ago. And I think it would be really great for emergencies too, just because it would keep your butter fresher if you have some canned butter or you have some, butter that you have out. It just will keep it a lot fresher and without me having to put it in the refrigerator because you wouldn't have refrigeration if the power was out. And next I got this Energizer. This is a folding lantern. I thought this was really cool. It comes in black and red, I believe. 500 lumens. And of course it's got this part that opens up. I'll try to put some batteries in this and try it out for you a little bit later. It's very simple, but I like things that fold and are kind of flat and compact. And it's got a handle, so I thought this was really handy for carrying it around. And then the other thing is that I thought was interesting is it has ports for charging your devices. It has a port for charging. And I'm assuming because this uses D batteries, I'm assuming that it would charge your device off of the D batteries, which I think is actually really kind of intriguing. I'm not certain about that. I'm going to have to try this out and see how it works. But that is intriguing to me to be able to use some of your batteries that you have stored and stashed to be able to charge your devices. I do like things that take replaceable batteries. I like to have a mix of both. I used to prefer batteries over recharging. I'm coming around to recharging, but I feel like I have so many things that need to be charged all the time, and half the time I forget, and they're not charged when I need them. I'd rather just be able to throw in a new set of batteries if it came down to it, and I either the charge ran out or something happened and I didn't have it charged up. But I am kind of coming around to it. Some things that use both, that have both options, are my favorite. But I do like to have some of both. I think they both have their pros and cons. Next, I got several cases of emergency drinking water. So I've actually got 4 cases here. These are cases of 6 liters. So this is what the bottle looks like right here that's inside. There's 6 of these 1-liter bottles inside each of these cases. We had someone ask recently why we've started stocking this kind of long-term water. So I wanted to explain it really quickly. First, this is not the only way that we store water. We store water in multiple different ways. And honestly, that's what everyone should really be doing. But one of the biggest challenges with water storage is rotation. When you're filling your own containers, whether that's 5-gallon jugs or water bricks or larger drums or totes, you really have to stay on top of rotating that water. If you're wanting to store it long term, you need to treat it before you store it. And even then, you're really still looking at a very limited shelf life, usually about 5 years or less, and ongoing maintenance. So we actually use a lot of 5-gallon jugs, which it works great for us because they're like a manageable size. They're easier to move around than a lot of the larger options. They're fairly easy to rotate. But once you start getting into larger storage, like 55-gallon drums, IBC totes, things like that, becomes a whole different situation. Those are heavy, they're bulky, they're harder to clean, they're harder to empty and refill. And realistically, you're not moving those around if you ever have to leave. And that's the other piece of this, mobility. You do need some water that you can actually grab and go, something portable. We used to rely on regular store-bought bottled water for that, the little crinkly bottles, but those really aren't designed for long-term storage. The plastic is thin, they break down easily. You start to lose water over a relatively short period of time, and they require constant rotation. And for us, we just weren't going through them fast enough anymore. We've really steered away from those kind of plastic bottles. So what we wanted was something in smaller, portable sizes that we didn't have to constantly think about rotating. And that's where this water comes in. This is designed specifically for long-term storage. They're sealed, durable, and stable. You're not dealing with evaporation, leaks, any kind of breakdown over time. They're 100% bacteria-free and guaranteed to stay that way. So for me, the biggest benefit was really simple. It just takes rotation off of my plate for this category of water. So this has become more of a set it and build it over time part of our preps. And most months I just grab like 1 case and add to our supply gradually. That's how we do a lot of our prepping. A lot of our buildup is slow and steady, a little bit every month. But since these were on sale right now, and that doesn't happen very often, I did go ahead and stock up a little more this time. That process actually works really well for us with a lot of different things, like building up slow and steady over time. And then we just bump it up a little bit whenever there's some kind of a price drop. So you'd be surprised at how quickly things can add up. And then suddenly one day you take a step back and you actually look and feel really good about what you have stored. It doesn't have to happen all at once. And next I got a couple more of these number 10 cans, which these are gallon-sized cans of cornmeal. Now I wanted to grab a few more of these while they were on sale because honestly, with the cornmeal, I love that this is packaged for long-term storage. It's already packaged up in these cans that, it's got oxygen absorbers in there. Cornmeal is notorious for going rancid and for getting bugs and pests in it. So this is going to avoid either one of those situations. It's got a 20-year shelf life unopened. And so, we love to have cornmeal on hand. We love cornbread. It's something that we always want to have. I use it in recipes. And the other thing is that I really like that it's non-GMO cornmeal. Most of the corn that's grown in the United States is genetically modified. So it is definitely possible to find non-GMO corn, but it's a harder product to find. If you see, bioengineered ingredients written on your food, it's most likely either corn or soy, because those are the most highly genetically modified crops in the United States. So this is actually non-GMO cornmeal as well, which actually makes this a really, really good deal because it is sealed for long-term storage and it is non-GMO. So had to pick up a couple more of these while they were still available and still on sale. Okay, I mentioned I had some big news from the food storage industry. For anyone who remembers Thrive Life's scrambled egg mix, you know what I'm talking about when I say they were the best shelf-stable egg product that you could get. If you don't remember that, but you've used other brands of egg powders, you can probably relate because most of those are pretty gross. They might work okay as an ingredient in baking, like a cake or something, but as far as scrambling them up and eating them as eggs, no thanks. The egg crystals that we used to get from Thrive Life actually scrambled up and had the same taste, the same texture as fresh eggs. So they were so much more versatile. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to store something in my pantry, it has to be something that we enjoy eating. And we loved those eggs. The process they used to produce them was very gentle, so it retained the original structure of the egg. So they stayed true to the original raw product, which is just much different than anything else out there. We have been missing these eggs so much, and I know many of you have as well. But one of the companies that we've been working closely with has been going above and beyond to fill that void little by little. So I am so excited to tell you that those eggs are coming back. The same eggs with the same quality created by the same gentle process as what we were used to before. And they're going to have the same 7-year shelf life. This is huge because eggs are very, very important in the prepper pantry. They're a basic foundational food item. They're essential to so many different recipes, and they're packed with protein and all sorts of other nutrients that our bodies really need to thrive. So it's very important to have some eggs in your prepper pantry, but at the same time, there's not a lot out there, even less that's actually packaged for long-term storage, and basically nothing that is all of that plus actually tasting good. So this is really, really exciting news for the prepper community. I'm giving you a heads up because these are due to drop in just a few days, and every time they introduce something new like this, it usually sells out really quickly. So I wanted to make sure that all of you have a chance to snag some if you want them. So if you want to be able to check these out as soon as they drop, text me the word eggs and I will notify you as soon as they're available with a direct link so that you don't have to go hunting or you're not going to forget about it until it's too late. Next up here, I've got another beverage. This is on top of my water. This was something I just discovered. It just came on my radar. I'd never seen this before. I was so intrigued. It is protein caffeinated milk or milk product. Yeah, so it's milk that is flavored and has protein and caffeine, which is really, really interesting to me. I'm actually more interested in the caffeine than I am in the protein, but both of those are very important to have in emergency situations. You know, protein is missing from a lot of prepper pantries. It's a very important nutrient for our bodies. And caffeine, sometimes, I mean, unless you absolutely can't have caffeine, it's something that, you know, most people, you're going to want to have it. You're going to want to not be going through withdrawals, number one, but number two, you're also going to want to be able to stay awake and alert under tough conditions if you need to. So this comes in lots of different flavors, and this was a variety pack because I just wanted to try it. I had just never heard of this before. So there's cookies and cream, chocolate, of course, peanut butter chocolate, strawberry, that's going to be Mr. Wicked Prepared's favorite, vanilla milkshake, and this is Max chocolate. So I'm assuming the Max is the caffeine because it says Max caffeinated. So they do come in cases of each individual flavor. So if we do like them and we want to continue buying them, they're a little expensive. They're a little spendy, but they are pretty low calorie, very low carb, and like I said, high protein and caffeine. So I thought that was pretty cool. And next up here, this is a set that I found. So what this comes with, it comes with a Food Saver brand marinating container. You can either store or you can marinate in this. It's got the lid with the valve. It comes with, of course, the instructions, but it comes with a few of their bags that have the little valve on it that you can also vacuum. Their brand of bags that are meant for the little pump. And then it comes with this manual, not manual, but this rechargeable pump. So it has a base that it charges up on, and it will suck the air out of the container or the bags. And how this relates to prepping, I mean, when you marinate your food, if you put it under pressure, it's going to help that marinade absorb faster and better. But it also works with freeze-dried food. So if you have something that's freeze-dried that you're having a hard time getting the liquid to fully absorb back into it. Usually it's bigger pieces of meat, like a big thick steak or meatballs or something like that. Some bigger meat product. You might have trouble getting the liquid to fully absorb into it, and having it under pressure can help. And we do a lot of cooking and experimenting with freeze-dried foods. So I thought this was something that might be useful for us, and it would be able to be used when the power's out, because as long as we keep the pump charged. And next I've got my shop club stuff for this month. This is not obviously everything that I bought, but not all of it really relates to prepping. I get cosmetics and skincare and things there that don't necessarily relate to prepping, but I've got some stuff up here. This is a soap, like a liquid hand soap. Of course, you want to definitely have lots of hand soap on hand. This was a special scent that was only available this month, I think, so I wanted to try it. Mr. Wicked Prepared is curious because it shows a tomato, so he wants to know what it smells like. So I can't wait to see about that. And then this is a new product that we were so excited about. This is tallow. It is beef tallow, which is a very pure, very traditional, rendered beef fat that comes from the same ranch where we get our organic beef every month. It's 100% product of the USA. The cows are raised in the USA with no hormones, no antibiotics, never ever any of that. So this is really good, really good and healthy fat to have and use. And we were super excited that they were coming out with this because, of course, they have the beef. They raise the beef on the ranch, so they've got the source for the tallow. And what they went through in the process of creating this product was really interesting and eye-opening. They were looking for a place to just process or render the tallow and get it ready for a market. And what they found was there's basically one facility that processes tallow for pretty much every commercial tallow out there. They process it all there. So they figured that was kind of the way to go. So they went and toured the facility, and what they saw was that their just practices were just awful. They were, trying to speed through large batches of tallow. So it was getting sort of burned and overheated and scorched. And then to counteract that, they were using chemicals to bleach it, to get it back to being, white and looking good and smelling good and all of that stuff. And so they basically said there's no way they were going to do that. So they went and developed their own process that they're patenting and built their own facility right on the ranch to process the tallow. And that really kind of underscored to me like why we love this company so much, because they just do things better. They don't bend their standards to fit into anything else. They do things their way. So I was really excited to get this tallow. And then, of course, we got our Fiber Wise. This is a complete game changer for gut health. So we each take this on the daily. I just use the plain, and then Mr. Wicked Prepared uses the sugar-free berry, but we get this all the time. We try to keep an extra supply on hand because you definitely need to take care of your gut health in emergencies, and you don't want to all of a sudden be without something that you really rely on, especially when you're going to be under stress and you're going to be possibly eating foods you're not always used to eating. So make sure you stay well stocked on products like this that your body uses. And we love this. It has all sorts of different forms of fiber. It's got prebiotics, probiotics. It's got botanical ingredients that are really just good for your gut. Makes a huge difference. And then, of course, we got our coffee that we love. The specific blend is our favorite. I need to bump this up and order more because we're trying to build up our supply, and we go through this so fast. And then I got some more beef products. So these are from the same ranch where the tallow comes from. I've got jerky here, and I have got beef sticks. And we just love, these are raised on American ranches, processed in the USA. Never ever hormones or antibiotics. Like definitely something like jerky and beef sticks can be a little suspicious, sometimes. I definitely would want to know where my jerky and meat sticks are coming from for sure. And of course, also the beef sticks are 0 sugar, which is perfect for me. And then I've got some personal care items here. You definitely need to make sure that you're staying stocked on your personal care items. These are going to be hit extra hard with price increases because of a lot of different factors. Some of the ingredients that are used within them, supply chain issues. Of course, this is all from the Shop Club as well, and they manufacture everything in the United States. They're like the last family-owned American manufacturer that's left out there. So they're not quite as affected by supply chain issues and things like that. And they are kind of known for their ability to kind of foresee things and be able to get plenty of raw materials. So they don't usually deal with shortages and stuff. Prices have stayed pretty stable. Just stuff like toothpaste, deodorant, basic face wash stuff, just stuff that we like to keep a good stock on. I have teen girls, so it's hard to keep this stuff stocked ahead, but I try my best. And then, of course, I got Melibrite. This is a color safe whitener that is a laundry product. This is but it's good for so many other things. Cleaning, you can put it in your toilet tank. It's good for all kinds of stuff. I will show you how amazing this stuff works a little bit later on in the video. But what this is there is actually a powdered product in these little capsules, and these capsules are made completely of a biodegradable, like they're not made out of plastic, so it leaves nothing behind that could gunk up your washing machine or anything else. So it's just an easy way of dosing the product. But powdered products right now are the way to go because they have less weight per their value as a powdered product than other products that are packed full of water. So that's another reason that we love products from this company. They've got a few things that are powder and they have things that are very, very concentrated. So that is just really, really the way to go right now. So you're not paying for a lot of extra weight and freight because that all is going to increase costs. Next, I've got several cases of canning jars from Azure Standard. I love my Azure Standard canning jars. I've got 2 cases of half-gallon here. Canning jars are really important for preppers. It really allows you to kind of take control over your food supply, and you can preserve your food without electricity, which is really important. If you have the power going out, you can preserve everything in your fridge and freezer as long as you have a couple of burners and a couple of canners and a bunch of jars. But they're also great for storing dry goods. So the half-gallon, I use a ton for storing different dry goods, powders, beans, rice, things like that in smaller amounts. And then these are 3/4 pint jars. So they're like the tall jelly jars that Ball used to make, and they no longer make them. So this is the only place, to my knowledge, you can get them. And I really like these jars. So I was so thankful when they came out with these. A couple things I love about Azure Standard jars. They're really, really good jars. They have good prices. They come with superb lids, but you can also get them without lids. So if you have plenty of lids and bands, you can save money by buying the jars, just the jars, which I love. So these are ones I bought without the lids and bands. And the other thing is their printing doesn't raise up a lot off of the jar. It's it's called no ridge etching. So like if you stick labels on the front of your jars, which I like to do, it's not going to affect that the way that it does on like Ball jars. Next, I've got these mineral sticks. So this is like a drink packet that you can put in water, but it has got all kinds of minerals in it. And these are plant-derived minerals that they take out of the humic shale. And this is mined in Utah, which I like that. It is from the USA. So I don't have to worry too much about where it's coming from. It just makes it easier for your body to absorb, which is really, really important. There's so many things out there that people buy that it just goes right through them. You're just wasting your money. So this is more absorbable, and it has collagen in it too with the minerals, which is completely awesome. And then it also has fiber. So it only has 1 gram of carbs, and it is cherry flavored, which I do love cherry and raspberry flavored. So I had been really wanting to try this, and then I went and checked it out and saw that it was buy one, get one free. So I was able to get 2 for the price of 1 to start trying it. So I was really excited about that. But definitely make sure that you have plenty of supplements, vitamins, minerals, things like that to keep your body at top condition and to really fill in those gaps. If you were going to be having eating out of your prepper pantry, you'd be missing a lot of fresh food. You'd be missing a lot of probably certain types of food, whole categories of food, and that can really make your body lacking in different nutrients. So it's important to have ways to replace those. Next, I've got just some slivered almonds. This is 2.2 pounds, so it's a big bag. I go through a lot of slivered almonds. I put them in salads, I put them on ice cream, I put them in all kinds of stuff. And nuts are really good for the prepper pantry. They're not a long-term storage item. You need to rotate them every year or so. So you can store up to 6 months or a year supply as long as you're rotating through them. And that's what I like to do. Then I've got some different seasonings. There's a few up here. So this is freeze-dried basil. Now we know anything freeze-dried is going to be basically better quality and closer to fresh. You're going to maintain the flavor better. You're going to maintain the texture better, the color, the nutrition is going to be maintained better. I had a certain project in mind. I use a ton of dried basil, but I had a certain project in mind where I wanted it to be a little more fresh tasting, but I needed it to be preserved. So I grabbed this freeze-dried basil. These couple Perfect Pinch, now I have heard of these before and never had them. So, this is the Perfect Pinch Salad Supreme. I've known about this for a long time. I don't think I've ever tried it, but I saw a ton of people recently talking about, or several people anyways, talking about that it's really good on pasta salad. And we love pasta salad here. I make a lot of pasta salads. My kids love it. And so I thought I would try this because I always like trying something new, but I'm looking at it and it has sesame seeds in it. And to me, that just doesn't scream salad or pasta salad. So I'm not sure what I think about that. I haven't tried it yet. So let me know if you like this stuff, what you use it in or on, what you think of it. I liked the sound of it, but when I see the sesame seeds, I think that's odd to me in salad. But then I saw this one when I was looking for this. I found this Green Goddess Perfect Pinch Seasoning, which sounded pretty cool. It's got jalapeno in it, tarragon, green onion, lemon, solids, just all kinds of stuff. That kind of seemed pretty cool, so thought we'd try that. And then this is a case of Lipton soup mix, but it is golden onion. Let me see if I can get this open. So here it is. It's golden onion. Now I love onion soup mix as an ingredient in recipes, and I also have onion mushroom and beefy onion. Never had golden onion, and I think I saw a recipe that called for it, but now I can't remember what that recipe was now that it showed up. But there's always recipes on the box, and I'm sure it will come to me, and I will figure out why I bought this. But I do love to have these, and I think they're pretty interchangeable. This is probably not that much different, I'm sure, than any of the other onion soup mixes. I use them all pretty interchangeably, so this will just be a new one to try. I do love variety and trying different variety in my pantry. And then next I've got a couple cases of soups down here, recipe type of soups. So this is cheddar broccoli, which I use in certain casseroles, obviously, in different recipes. And then I've got cream of mushroom. We've been going through a ton of cream of mushroom because we've got a favorite baked mushroom Swiss burger recipe that we've been making on repeat. It's really good in the winter because it's burgers, but I don't have to have them on the grill. So I don't know how much we'll be making it now that it's getting warmer out and we're going to be grilling, but we do use a lot of cream of mushroom soup. It's in my tuna casserole. It's in all sorts of different casseroles. So needed to stock up on another case of this. In fact, I just got a case of this recently. I'm really stocking up. Now these rices, so these are the already cooked rice that you just need to heat. So they're typically done in the microwave, but in emergencies, you can totally use them without the microwave. You could heat them in a pan. I've put them in recipes, used them in casseroles, not this particular one. This is a new flavor, lemon, garlic, and herb. And I was supposed to get 5 of these a while back in my Walmart order, and they sent me 1 of these and 4 of some different flavor. They made a mistake. So they refunded me for the other flavor, which I love it when that happens because I can still use it. But they made their mistake right and refunded me. So I decided when it came back on Ibotta, I use Ibotta for rebates, save a ton of money that way. If you don't have Ibotta, I'll put a link down below, but I know a lot of you do. So when they came back with a rebate on this, I bought 5 more because I wanted to have a few to try, and they messed up on me last time. But these pre-cooked rices are really good to have for emergencies because they're not going to require any water and they're going to require little to no fuel. You could eat them just as is, but like I said, you can heat them really quickly in a pan. Now, this is something I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I could not believe this was a thing. How did I not know this? Great Value has candy bars. Like, this is a Snickers bar. Snickers is my favorite candy of all times. And I really don't eat stuff like this anymore. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to try this one. And then this is like a Twix. I had no idea Great Value had candy bars. I don't even know if this is new or I was just not on my radar because I don't shop the candy bar aisle, I guess. But this blew my mind when I saw this and I had to try them. Let me know if you've ever seen these before or tried them or if you knew about this. Another Great Value find. My kids love the Great Value Alfredo sauce. They think it is the best Alfredo sauce. It's the only one they want to eat out of jarred sauces. But I just recently found a couple of different flavors. I don't know if they'll go for this, but I thought we would try it. So there's roasted garlic and 4 cheese. And I think these are new. I don't think that they had these before. I've never seen them before. So we're going to give these a try. Always trying something new. They're probably not that different. And then, of course, a whole stack of pasta. So I've got some different whole wheat pastas. Got some shells. I've got some rotini, some radiatore. I love having different pasta shapes in my pantry. And we store a ton of pasta. I think it's a great prepper pantry item. It cooks more quickly and easily than cooking rice or beans. And it's something most people like. It's a really inexpensive sort of filler ingredient that you can do a lot with. You can use it in so many different meals in so many different ways and never get sick of it. I've also got whole wheat spaghetti and I've got some of these half-length spaghettis, which you can just dump right in your pot and not have to break. I did recently make a taco spaghetti meal in a bag and I used these and it worked great. Next, I've got this I was pretty excited about. So this is a collection and this is like a freezer meal kit. So it's coming from Sunset Gourmet, which is a seasoning company. So it's the seasonings and it comes with everything you need for that. And it comes with your plan here. So it tells you other types of groceries you need to get, which is basically just a few things, and then the utensils and tools you need, pre-prep, and then you've got your burger recipes that it makes. So maple apricot grilled chicken burgers, and that uses chicken breast. So I wouldn't really consider that a burger, but it's the only one that's like that. So there's Grill Master Deluxe burgers, bacon cheddar burgers, hickory maple barbecue burgers, backyard smokehouse burgers, and smoky sweet bacon burgers. 6 different recipes, and it says each one makes at least 8. So you get at least 48 different burgers and stuff ready for your freezer. And it's got, this is the recipe to make the actual patties, and then you freeze them if you want. Of course, I think we'll probably make them up and try a few right off. And then freeze some of the extras. But they also have then, of course, the recipe for what you do with them after you thaw them or when you're ready to cook them. And then the ingredients it comes with, there's an apricot maple pepper jelly, amazing. Smoky sweet grilling sauce, Oso bacon. So this is a brand new seasoning, and if you watch me often, you know they have an Oso onion seasoning that I love, and they have Oso garlic. So this is Oso bacon, and I love bacon. So I think a bacon flavored seasoning is going to be amazing. This is a new one. This is another new one, I believe, hickory and maple garlic. That sounds amazing. I love maple, love garlic, and I love that smoky, sort of hint of smoke in some things, especially in the summer. It came with this onion, garlic, and herb, and this chef's blend all purpose. So all of these are what's used in these recipes. So I thought that was really cool. And then I have a couple other items here that I got because they're just brand new items. So this is a spinach and herb seasoning mix. And then a peaches, pineapple, and peppers grilling sauce. So basically like a barbecue sauce, but it's like a chunky, fruity one. Mr. Wicked Prepared loves pineapples, and coincidentally, he does all the grilling. So this is going to be for him. And then a smoky chipotle honey mustard, which sounds amazing as well. So I can't wait to try all those. And then one more thing I got over here is this pickle mayonnaise dressing. I had never seen this before. I love dill pickle anything. So with summer coming up, I thought this was probably something we would probably use. And now I've got some more of these rice pouches. So this one right here is, they sell this at Dollar Tree, and we love this one, and we use this a lot. Like I said, I have used these in casseroles, recipes. We put this in burritos. I just made a whole bunch of freezer burritos the other night. So I went through like 3 packs of this because I was going to make the rice homemade, and then I realized I didn't have fresh cilantro on hand. So I just used these. And these are really great for something like that when you need something really quick, just a quick side dish, a quick something to throw in a burrito. And like I said, you don't need water. You can do them in the microwave, but you can do them in a pan and in an emergency. But this is the one they sell at Dollar Tree, and I went into restock, and I was really sad to see that my Dollar Tree has gone up to $1.50 on the prices in their food section. So that was kind of sad to me. So I'm gonna be shopping around a little bit more just to decide where's the best place for me to find this, because we do like it. But I did find that Walmart had a cilantro lime variety, which I had never seen before, and I thought it was actually more expensive than this one because I hadn't been in Dollar Tree yet, and this was $1.32. But this is now actually cheaper than Dollar Tree. And then back here, I've got a couple of these Proper Good meals. I think these are kind of new. I've seen this brand before, but not these specific items. And they've actually got a lot of these right now. The only thing is they're a little bit expensive. So I just got 2 to try. They're a complete meal in a pouch. Once again, they're probably made for the microwave, but you can heat them in a pan. So this is a chicken Alfredo, and this is a meatball marinara. And like I said, there's a lot of different ones. But what I like about these is that they actually have the meat in them. Number one, I think the brand is pretty good. I think it's a pretty clean brand. But also these actually have meat in them. This is with protein. So it's chicken Alfredo, and this has the meatballs. Because I've gotten something similar to these from Dollar Tree, and they didn't have the meat. They were just the pasta, like an Alfredo pasta or a marinara pasta. And I don't think they contained quite as much food either. So these, I'm hoping these are good. I'm going to try them and then maybe look around for some better deals on them. And then back here, I just have 4 of these boxes of beef broth because I was running low on these. Sometimes it's actually cheaper to buy cans than it is to buy the boxes, which is kind of contrary to what you would think, because you would think that it's cheaper to buy in bulk. But my store stopped carrying the cans of beef broth, and this is all I can find in the store brand. And I sometimes do use this for like my meals in a bag because I just made a meal, for instance, that needed this much broth and I only have one container and it has a screw top. So it's easier than a couple of cans. So you can see with this haul, I kind of had a mix of restocks of like basic pantry items, had some health related items that we either needed to restock or wanted to try, had some long-term storage items that we wanted to stock up on while they were on sale, mixture of getting good deals, finding things on sale, and trying some new things. Okay, now real quick before we say goodbye, let's test out a few of these items and I'm going to let you know what I think of them. Okay, first I want to try one of these caffeinated protein milks. So I've got the vanilla milkshake here because that kind of sounds like the best to me. I shook it. They're not supposed to be carbonated. So hopefully this isn't going to explode on me. It did explode a little bit. It just fizzed out a little bit. It didn't really explode. I don't know. Okay, let's go. That's actually really good. It doesn't really have a funny taste or a funny aftertaste because it's got like not very many carbs. So it's not going to have real sugar in it. That's definitely good. I think this is something I could stash in my car. I like to always have a caffeinated drink with me when I'm out and about. And sometimes my coffee runs out before I'm home. So something like this is something I could just stash in the car and just have something to open up if I need a drink with caffeine. I like that. The next thing I want to try is these two little pasta meal pouches, the chicken Alfredo and the meatball marinara. I want to try these out. Now, like I mentioned, if you are in a power outage, you could totally heat these in a pan. My power's on though, so I'm going to use my microwave just for the sake of time and convenience. I just want to taste them and see how they are. And while those are heating, I'm going to do a little demonstration and show you these amazing little color safe whitener pods and how awesome they work. And to test this out, I've got a bowl of water here, a clear bowl so you can see through it. And I've got some iodine that I'm going to put in the water. Get it nice and brown. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm just going to take one of these. It's just a little packet like this. And I know some people will sometimes say that packets like these are bad for your machines, but when I do something like this, whatever this is that holds this together completely dissolves. It's completely gone in this bowl. So there will be nothing left to hurt my plumbing, my washer, my toilet, anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in and stir it around until it dissolves and comes open. Which will just take a couple of seconds. I can see it is opening up, and look at this. It's going to completely take every bit of that iodine color and stain out of that water. Isn't that incredible? That blew my mind when I saw that. And that is one of the many reasons why I love using this in my laundry. All right, so now that these pasta meals are hot, just going to open them the rest of the way up. And I'm going to give them a stir. They really, really were snap, crackle, popping in there. They were heating a lot. So here's the Alfredo. It's very saucy, very liquidy. And here is the meatball marinara. This one's not as saucy, and I do see some good chunks of meatball in there. It's very hot. You can see the meatball, not a huge meatball, but like a bite-sized meatball. And honestly, I'm one of those people who I love the little meatballs in the Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs. I know that's weird. My kids usually didn't want them, and so I would get to eat them out of there, and I actually love them. So this one does have some, I just saw some chunks of chicken. They're harder to find, but they're in there. All right, so I'm going to try the Alfredo one first. They're pretty hot. But there's a big, good chunk of chicken. I don't know if you can see that, but definitely a good chunk of chicken in there. I mean, there's plenty of good chunks of chicken, but this is a really good one. That's pretty good. It's not necessarily anything real special. I think it's very similar to the taste maybe of the Dollar Tree one, but like I said, the Dollar Tree one doesn't have the chicken. I mean, it's definitely not bad. It's pretty decent. It's not amazing. Now let's try the meatballs and marinara. Good, lots of good sized meatballs in there. In fact, I think I have 2 meatballs in this bite. That's probably excessive. That's really good. That meatball's got a little bit of more of a real meatball texture than like a Chef Boyardee meatball. Really good, actually. I think I would always naturally gravitate towards the Alfredo, but I think I actually like this meal better. That's pretty good. However, these are $5. They're like $5 a piece. So I don't know if they're that good. They're definitely not bad. The meatballs and marinara one is really good. The Alfredo one's pretty good. But for $5, I don't know. I mean, it is handy to have. It's really good to have things like that on hand in your prepper pantry that you could eat those without even heating them up if you were in a dire situation. So it is good to have things like that. If it's really expensive, you can just have small doses. Have it in small doses. But they are pretty spendy. All right, the next thing I'm going to try is I've got to try this soap. I just want to smell it. I mean, I know how soap works, but I'm just curious about this garden scented soap that shows a tomato on it. Mr. Wicked Prepared got me wondering. It's got a foil seal, so I really can't tell through there. I'm going to peel this off, or sometimes I just punch this through it. But I'll try to peel it off so I can smell it gracefully. Moment of truth. I'm wondering because years ago, I remember there was a Yankee candle that was greenhouse scent. And it really did remind me of my mother's greenhouse when I was a kid, but in a good way. So I'm wondering if this is going to be similar or if it's something totally different. I like that. It does almost smell like I at first could smell that like a tomato, the plant part, the green part, but mixed with like a sweet sort of, what is that? I'm not sure, but I do like it. I'm going to have Mr. Wicked Prepared smell it and see what he thinks, and I'll report back if he has any ideas, but it's definitely a nice smell. Not tomatoey, but maybe a little tomato planty, a little greenhousey, a little, not sure. It does say odor neutralizing, so I'm assuming it's something you can use after you've been gardening or cooking or something where you might have a lot of dirt and odors on your hands. All right, next I have got to try these Great Value knockoff candy bars. I've got to see if these are any good. All right, so I've got the Snickers and the Twix here. Looking pretty legit. I don't know if I've ever looked at my Snickers bar. Just eat them right out of the wrapper. And here's the Twix. This one's looking a little sad. It's got this waxy kind of looking coating on the chocolate. I wonder if this has any kind of an expiration date on it. I just got these. June 12th, 2026. So it's not expired, but this is October 23rd, 2026. So I have a feeling this one has been sitting around a lot longer, and it shows. But really, honestly, we've had candy sitting around from holidays because my kids, they're not really candy fiends. So usually a year after any given holiday, candy holiday, I'm throwing away the previous year's candy or, trying a little bit before we throw it away. And it's usually still in good shape. So I'm surprised this looks like this when it's not even past its best by date. All right, I'm just going to cut off a little piece off of each one to try. That is not looking like what I think. I've never cut into my Twix bars either, but that is not looking particularly Twix-ish to me. All right, let's cut a piece off of this one. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's try them. All right, I'm trying these Snickers first because this is my favorite, and I don't want the other one to spoil this for me. Let's see. It's not bad. I don't think it's the same as a Snickers. I don't think it's quite as good as a Snickers. I don't feel like it has as much nuts, and that's my favorite part of the Snickers bar. And the bottom layer, whatever that is, the nougat, I guess, it tastes a little different. It's kind of giving me like Milky Way vibes, or what's that other one? Musketeers vibes, and I don't like those candy bars. I think I'd spring for the actual Snickers bar. Let's try this Twix. I don't think that's as good as a Twix either. The cookie is, it could be a fact of that it's getting old, maybe. The cookie's not crispy enough and it's more graham crackery than I feel like it should be. Somebody in this house will finish those, but I'm not a huge fan. And I don't eat a lot of candy anyway, so. But I do enjoy it when I eat it. Those aren't the same. All right, back to the savories though. I want to test out this cilantro lime rice from Great Value and see how this is, because we do love cilantro lime rice. And this is a little cheaper now than buying the other one at Dollar Tree. All right, here is that cilantro lime rice. It smells really good. It smells very similar to the one that I get at Dollar Tree. It looks really good. It might look even better than that one I get at Dollar Tree. So now the real test is to try it. Now, in all fairness, I don't typically eat the other one just by itself. Usually, we usually put it in burritos, in a casserole, in something else. So I'm not usually just tasting it by itself. I mean, I have tasted it by itself. But I'm going to taste this one by itself. So let's see how it goes. All right, so here's the rice. I feel like that's a little disappointing. Let me stir it a little bit more because it smells really good. It smells really limey and really smells similar to that one I get at Dollar Tree, that Eat Regal brand or whatever it is, but I'm not tasting a whole lot of lime flavor like I do in the other one. Yeah, it doesn't taste bad. Like some of these rices have like a weird flavor to them or a weird aftertaste. Some of these pre-cooked rices, this doesn't have that. It's just way too bland for me. I'm not tasting, I smell the lime more than I taste it. So this probably won't be the brand we're going to buy. I mean, it's not bad. It would do the trick if we were putting it in a burrito or, you know, something like that, but it just doesn't have the flavor that the other one has. So that's a disappointment. If you're not huge on lime flavor, maybe you would prefer this one, but I love the flavor of the other one, and this just isn't cutting it. All right, I do want to test out these couple of lights and just see how they work. I'm pretty excited about these. Love some new gadgets. I have a lot of headlamps, but I've never had this brand. Never even really heard of this brand. I will have links down below to all of the stuff that I can find that I've got here for anybody who wants to go check it out. All right, so here is the little light piece. It is really pretty tiny, which I do like. It's very light. And see, it's got this kind of a little clippy thing here that's going to clip it onto the light band, the headband, or clip it onto a ball cap, in which case you would just aim this however you need it. You could have it probably up or down. Probably you'd want it up so it wasn't hanging in front of your eyes. But I think you could also clip this onto a shirt pocket. I would just clip this over my shirt pocket or even my collar, depending on what type of a shirt I was wearing, and just have a wearable light. So I think this is super multi-purpose, super handy. Now I had a test me button. Let me see if I can see how bright it is. Green, red, and off. So it has 3 brightnesses, and then the green and the red and off. I'm going to see if I can turn out the lights and see a little bit better how bright it is. All right, it is pretty dark in here. Let's try this again. Oops, how did I get the red? Okay. So here is the bright beam of light. All right, so there's all the different settings it has. It is pretty nice and bright. I'm holding this pretty far away to light up this other light. Yeah, shining it across the room, I am able to see really, really well. I don't know how to get that to show up on camera, but shining it across the room, I can see really, really well with this light. All right, so a few other things I noticed about this in the instructions. Number one, there's a turbo mode, which I didn't even know about because I hadn't read the directions. So you press and hold the button while it's on, and it will go into turbo mode. So it was plenty bright without the turbo mode. So that turbo mode is going to be just absolutely extra. And then I also see, because I was thinking about this and thinking about when you put the strap on, this would be pretty uncomfortable about against your forehead. So this part does actually slide out. This clip slides in and out. So you only use it when you are needing it to clip it onto a cap, a ball cap, a collar, a shirt pocket, whatever you wanted to clip it onto. Probably a backpack strap, lots of different things. Then it comes off if you want to use the other strap with these connectors. So that's good to know. But this is a super handy little light. All right, and now finally, I just want to test out this final lantern here. Looks like the batteries go in here. All right, let's see. It actually looks like that's kind of cool. The buttons glow in the dark. These are glow in the dark buttons. You can see where my finger is. That's the power button and the, I don't know what other button, to be honest, but there's the power button. Wow, that is nice and bright. That is very bright. It's hard for you to tell, probably. So hard to show these things on camera, but this is nice and bright. And it actually works equally well down like that as it does opened up. So this is really kind of cool. Let's see what happens when I push this other button. Okay, it has like a nightlight function, I think. Off, nightlight, off, okay. Light, dimmer, off, okay. Pretty cool. Now the final thing I'm going to do is go ahead and test the little phone charging port. Of course, I am recording with my phone right now, so I'm going to have to stop this recording, and then I will let you know how it goes and put up a little screen recording of how the charging goes. There is no power that goes into this besides those batteries, so this is going to charge off of those batteries, which I think is pretty interesting. And the charging seems to work just fine. This is a USB charging port here, a regular USB, not a USB-C. So this is not going to be a super fast charger. It would have to have two ends like this to really be a super fast charger. But this works just fine as a regular strength charger. I think it's pretty cool. I hope you've enjoyed everything I showed you today and that it's kind of got your wheels turning. The best time to prepare was, well, years ago. But the next best time is today. Don't wait, but don't panic. Slow and steady wins the race. And if you stay the course, when you turn around and look back, you'll see that you've come much further than you realized. And remember, even if you feel prepared, do some real life exercises to find those gaps. They are usually there. And work on filling in and on rotating. Out with the old, in with the new to keep your stockpile fresh and keep it getting better with time. We are always learning, changing, and growing, and our preps should reflect that as well. Remember above all that every penny you spend today on food and supplies is insurance that you get to cash in on no matter what does or doesn't happen. And it's an investment that will pay you back with dividends. Nothing is getting cheaper, folks. Get it now. You'll save your future self some money, and you'll ensure that you're going to have the things you need when they're either unavailable or unaffordable. Because if you think things are bad now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Don't forget to text me for that egg drop reminder. I can also send you coupon codes and sale alerts when they become available. Just text that same number to get on my list. Texting alert gets you on the basic list, but if you don't like to miss anything and you don't mind up to 2 to 3 texts a week when things are moving really fast, and you're able to just scroll by any message that doesn't interest you, then you belong on my insiders list. So text insider instead to that same number. Don't forget to check out tryfreezedried.com and shopabetterway.com to find some really awesome sources for many of the things that we stock in our prepper pantry. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me an egg emoji down in the comments because you know I'm excited for those eggs. And if you're ready to make preparedness a priority right now, check out this video next. I'm Gerald with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.